Let's begin by drawing our number line. So I'm drawing my number line with an arrow on either side. I'm drawing a horizontal number line, so that means it goes from left to right instead of up and down, because this problem doesn't have anything to do with sea level or elevation, so I think I can just use a horizontal number line this time. I am going to mark 0 in the middle of my number line, and then I'm going to take a look at the numbers that I need to plot so that I can try to decide what the best scale for my number line would be. So the numbers I have to plot are -10, -2, -20, and -15. That seems like I'm going to be working a lot on the left side of my number line and not at all on the right side of my number line. So I think that I can actually just show the left side of my number line and maybe use a scale of 5 so that I can accurately plot a lot of these points. So let me actually erase my 0, and I'm going to put 0 down at the right end of my number line, right here. I don't have any positive numbers I have to plot right now, so I'm just going to use the left side of my number line, or the negative side on the left of 0. So I said I would make a scale of 5, so my first line is going to be -5. My second line is going to be -10. My third line is -15. My fourth line is -20. The smallest number that I'm plotting here is -20, so I don't need to write any more numbers on my scale than that. Now I'm ready to plot my points. So my first one that I'm plotting is -10. I already have a line that's labeled as -10, so I know that I just need to draw my dot right on that line. Okay. The next number that I'm plotting is -2. -2 is not one of my lines on the number line right now, but I know that it falls between 0 and -5. -2 is very close to 0, so I'm going to draw it in between those two numbers, but a little closer to 0 than to -5. My following number is -20, so I am going to plot my next point on -20. And then finally, my last number is -15, so I'm going to plot my point on -15. Okay, so I've plotted my points, and then question A says, use a number line and write an inequality statement using the greater than or the less than symbol to order the numbers from least to greatest. Below each integer, write its absolute value. Okay, so let's try to order these. So I know that the numbers that are furthest away from 0 are actually the smallest numbers. So even though with positive numbers, I always think that 20 is greater than 5. I know that with negative numbers, it's actually the opposite. So -20 is much further away from 0 than -5. So I know that -20 is a smaller number. So I'm going to start rating my numbers in order from least to greatest using my symbols. So here's -20. And we said that if it's a smaller number, the alligator is not going to want to eat that number. So I know that -20 is my smallest number here, so the smaller side of my alligator is going to face -20. And then my next smallest number is -15, because that's the next number that's the furthest away from 0 besides -20. So my next smallest number is -15. Then I know that my alligator is going to want to eat the bigger number than -15, and I know that the next number is -10, so I'm going to have my alligator eating -10 instead of -15, and then finally, my greatest number here is -2, so I'm going to have my alligator eating -2. Okay, so B says below each integer, write its absolute value. What do you notice about the order of the absolute values relative to the order of the integers? Why do you think that relationship exists? Here you're going to pause the video and come back, and we are going to discuss the absolute values of the numbers together. Then you will return to this video. So pause now. Welcome back. So in class we talked about how our absolute values of these numbers are 20, 15, 10, and 2. The question says, what do you notice about the order of the absolute values relative to the order of the integers? Why do you think that relationship exists? So as you can see, when we convert these numbers into absolute value, our order of our absolute values are actually going from greatest to least, because we know that 20, positive 20, is our largest number out of all of these absolute values. So we can see that there's an inverse or opposite relationship to our orders when we're talking about integers. So our integers are the original set of numbers that we were working with, and we had those ordered from least to greatest. But when we convert all of those integers into their absolute values, we now have these ordered greatest to least. So if I were to plug in my inequality signs here, the alligator would definitely want to eat 20 rather than 15 because it's the greater number. And the alligator would definitely want to eat 15 instead of 10 because that is the greatest number. And finally, the alligator would prefer to eat 10 instead of 2 because that is the greatest number. Let's come back together now and discuss what we have found and stamp what this relationship is between our integers and our absolute values.